Okay, so first question to everybody. How many of you are using SXA or have heard about SXA?
What about it?
Heard, are these hands for heard or
What is
using?
it?
Using, great. So, what is SXA? It's a framework by Sitecore that's quite popular these days. It's one of the hot topics apart from JSS, not to offend anyone here. So it speeds up the site delivery process. It enables different work streams to run in parallel in theory, but in practical to some extent. So in all the development projects, we have different streams like user experience. UX guys are developing the designs and providing the designs to the front-end developers. Then the back-end guys fill it with live functionality, and the editors edit the content. So this all, up to some extent, can run in parallel, and everybody saves time and money. And one of the great selling point of SXA is you can highly reuse components and themes and everything that you put in your sites. So the question that would interest you is, what does it offer? Why should I use it? Well, first thing, it has a toolbox, yes, but it's way beyond toolbox. It's just a rumor or a notion that SXA just comes with a toolbox and it's nothing apart from drag and drop. It has 80 pre-built components. It allows you to have auto data source creation, so the editors don't need to necessarily create or choose the data sources in a separate dialog, so it saves the click path by 3 clicks at least. And if you think about it, even single component, if it is saving 3 clicks, then think about creating the pages and the whole website. Yeah, it offers a simplified page architecture, and by the time your editors get used to it, they really learn how to use the tool itself and how they can make their pages faster and with good architecture. It offers multi-tenancy support. It has grid framework, nothing new in that. It has shared site concept, so you can share basically your presentation, your content at a single location and use it as dedicated areas to your other sites. And you can set a shared site at the tenant level and you can define what you want to share. Then it has themes. Now with SXA 1.8, it supports Bootstrap 4. And it has site definition as items, so you might be aware that right now in Sitecore vanilla, or at least just the Sitecore implementation, we have site definitions as configuration files, so we need to think about deployment and managing those for different roles, different environments. So this is a really good thing, which I felt is really nice, that you need to source control the items and maintain everything there. Then it has headless capabilities. We are not using it yet, so it's on the roadmap, but I really don't know much about it. Then we have Creative Live Exchange. What does it do? It has the export and import feature, so your agency that is working on the designs or the markup can export. So you can export the pages that you have. The agency can change the markup and put it back, give it back to you as a zip archive. You can import it back to your pages, and you will have the new designs. We started using it, but for our case it didn't really work out because we have a single team where front-end developer and the back-end developers all work together. So we didn't really make use of it. So we thought of, okay, let's just not use it, and we created a custom asset optimizer and the custom gulp task to have it source controlled, and many more cool features. If I go fast, just stop me because I'll go on and on. So, what do we do at Metro here regarding SXA? So we have 30 websites across Europe and Asia. The blue regions that you see here, they are not on SXA solution yet. Out of these, we have 1 website live since a month, and we have 4 websites in the process of UAT, and they will be live soon in 2 or 3 months. We have decentralized editing. Then we offer headless CMS in the current solution. So we offer header as a service, navigation, footer, stores. We have plenty of stores in each country, so that's how we get in touch with other products within our company. And we have 99.9% availability of our content deliveries websites. Then 600 million page views per year and 38.5 billion page requests. Why I'm talking about all this? Just to give you a background what kind of solution we have and why we took the risk to start with SXA. Just to give you a brief disclaimer, we didn't migrate our existing site as it is from the existing solution to the SXA one. We created everything from scratch because that was the need of our country editors. They wanted new architecture, new page designs, everything new, and there was a lot of technical debt which we wanted to get rid of, and we thought maybe it's the right point to start from scratch. This is our production architecture. We have 2 data centers, some XDB roles, marketing automation, solar, and all that generic stuff, and also 1 CM. So, out of the box, SXA has a good news for you, or plenty of good news, so you might feel blessed in that case. We have accordion, carousel, tabs, language selector, events calendar, map component, breadcrumbs, navigation, search, social share, error pages, all out of the box. So even search, which is quite a complex feature, can be implemented within a couple of days, even if you have to do some customization. It's just configuration settings that you need to do in Sitecore. And I believe, or what we thought, that maybe it's a good set since it offers plenty of components that are used almost on every website. So it's a good target set, and there are much more. So, talking about site and tenant setup, as I said, it offers multiple tenants and multiple sites. So this is how you create a tenant. Then within a tenant, you can create a site. This is what it opens once you click on new site. Then it has 4 tabs: general, modules, theme, and grid. You can enter your site name, you can give a host name, a virtual folder if you want to point your site to another folder. Usually we never created any virtual folder. You can select your site language here. If you want for a new language to be set up for a new site, then you must add it in the system languages folder. Then the next step would be module. This is a really cool feature that SXA has. So these all modules are coming out of the box. So you should decide what you really need for your site and don't click everything. Just choose what you need. You can also create new modules and include it in this dialog so that it shows up during the site creation process. Also, for example, I selected 5 of those, and at a later point I need 5 more from these. Then if you right click on your existing site, it will show you what you don't have, so it has the possibility to install these modules at a later point as well. Then we have themes here. SXA provides themes out of the box, so you can really customize. For example, you can see basic 2 themes comes here. We have inherited this theme, and then we have created one on the top, our custom one, and you can choose if you want to take the existing one or you want to create a new one. The grid architecture that it supports, it has Bootstrap Foundation and Grid 960, and with SXA 1.8 it offers Bootstrap 4 support as well. And after running, once you click on OK, plenty of PowerShell scripts run. It takes few minutes to set up your site, and it creates these many items with lots of templates, renderings, and everything. So, just a little bit about the grid column layout. It ensures the responsive behavior. So your page designs, you can make sure that they are compatible in all the viewports and all the browsers and all different devices. We can divide the pages horizontally and vertically by using column splitters and row splitters, and you can add up to 12 columns. So this is the maximum that it has. Then cross-device compatibility. Yes, so this is how you can set the grid configurations whenever you add a column splitter. So you have the possibility to change here the basic settings and the advanced setting. What it shows here is different devices: phone, tablets, desktop, large desktop, and you can choose what kind of layout you want to set for your column. For example, I have a 4-column teaser on my page. I want to show it one below the other on phone, so I will choose 12. So it takes the full width of the available device, and I can, starting from tablet, I want to show 2 in a row or 4 in a row, so you can accordingly change the values. And if you want to say that I want to use 4 columns in 1 row, then you can set it for tablets, and it will be taken over by desktop and large desktop as well if you don't set anything. In advanced tab, we have there are much more configurations that you can do. This is the interesting one, visibility. So you can decide if you want to show a particular component on mobile device or not. If you want to show, for example, a pop-up in mobile, or if you don't want to show it up because it irritates the users, then you can decide if you want to hide it or not. Next we talk about is page and partial designs. So SXA has this concept of reusability, which I talked about in the beginning. So imagine there is a page, there's an article page. You can create a page design for article page, and what it would have is partial designs. What are partial designs? They are individual components or combination of components that you can set for your page design, and they will appear everywhere wherever you place that design. So for example, in partial design I have header, 3 columns and footer. I created a partial design named something blah blah blah, and I have 3 of those there. Now editors can decide in that 3 column if they want to choose navigation, page content, or any other rendering from the toolbox. Now these renderings, for example, I have teasers here, promo teasers. I have the rendering variants to support different variation of those teasers. I want one with image, I want one just with text, or I want one with rich text. So the authors can decide on their pages what kind of view they want depending on the context of the page itself. In Experience Editor, we have this Experience Accelerator tab that comes when you install SXA. And here you can set also partial designs and page designs. For example, right now on my page I have 3 partial designs, header, footer, header, and metadata. I can also insert a new one here. Oops. Then we have in page design I have a default page design, so all these are part of the default page design. Here you can set a site level page design. What I mean by this is a template to page design mapping. So for example, I've created several templates for search page, article page, catalog page, store detail page. I can choose what kind of page design I want to use for that particular template. So when you insert an item, it's automatically going to pick that particular page design. Right now, for demo purpose, I just have one page design, so I have default everywhere. Are you guys awake? I guess so. Snippets, another cool feature that we found out later about SXA, and we started using it and we started promoting it. It's good, but it has some drawbacks, and you'll get to know what I'm talking about in a minute. So Snippets is a composite rendering. One cool thing about Snippet is you can create several snippets in English language in your shared site, and once you want a snippet in another language, then you have to edit those snippets on the shared layout, otherwise it's not going to show in another language. So here you can find snippets in the composite section of the toolbox. Then it offers the possibility if you want to create a snippet from the current page or current site, or from the shared one, the data. So this is how the data sources, so there are 3 different possibilities to set data sources for snippets. Either you can copy the global data source, meaning the site level data source, or you can create a new data source under your current page. So for reusable snippets, you should use copy global data source option, and for the snippets that you want to maintain only for your current page, you should use do not copy option. And the third option is ask from the user every time for snippets if you want to create a new one, or you want to use a global one. So one example, we have a page design, and we want to use this component, and we want to make this component. Basically, we got this design from our UX designer, let's just say, and we want to achieve this kind of component using snippets, rendering variants, and whatnot. So facts about snippets: it's a click-path killer. How? Because you can place several renderings, like 4 columns, then pages and everything, not pages, the components, and you can drag and drop those components. So it provides you the basic structure. The editors just need to fill in the content. So it saves the click path a lot. So the drag and drop itself from the SXA toolbox reduces the click path by 50%. And if you use snippets on top of that, then it's more than 80%. For us, it was a business case, and it really helped us to convince our management that we want to go with SXA. So here is a little graph that shows how we did a comparison. So if you add an image component, let's just take example of 3-column teaser. If you have a Sitecore implementation without SXA, then it's about 24 clicks. If you use SXA and drag and drop from the toolbox, then it's about 21 clicks, which is not that much improvement. If you use snippets, it's close to 3 clicks, so it's about 87.5%. There are a couple of known issues with snippets as of 1.7.1 version. So you cannot use snippets inside snippets because our editors have this fantasy of using things in a wild way. So it's a big no. We guided them, please do not use it. It causes mess on the page. It just breaks the page. Multiple snippets in one placeholder, that's also not possible as of now. And one drawback is snippet, although it reduces the click path, it saves time, but it does add many placeholders. So you should be really careful how many snippets you are using on your page. And another issue which I encountered about a week ago is if you delete a snippet within a placeholder and you try to add a new one in the same placeholder, it doesn't let you do so, and the old one wants to come back on the page. Now, rendering variants. What are rendering variants? Rendering variants are basically the new cool way of developing the components faster with no code. So I mean it, no code. So rendering variants are basically pointing to the same rendering with different variations that you want to use with, say, I don't want to see this field, that field, so you can create a new rendering variant, and it's quite easy and fast. It encourages the reusability to a greater extent because this is one of the features of SXA. They want to make everything reusable and save time, and yeah, it has way less placeholders, so this is a big improvement over snippets. So I wanted to show a demo comparing. But yeah, I don't see it as a drawback, but I really think it's a good thing that the editors cannot create snippet rendering variants, which is good because we want them to use the components like they are intended to be used. And maybe I can just talk from the demo about the demo here. So our requirement came up that we want to have action teasers. We call these action teasers because they lead somewhere, perform some kind of action. So we created this one as a single custom component in the beginning. Later our UX guys came, okay, we might want to have this one also as an action teaser serving the same purpose with an additional button. So what we did is we created rendering variant of the same component with 0 code, and it was right there. So you can create new sections. I didn't do it for demo purpose. I have it in the page content, which is really bad practice. You should create a new section in your toolbox and create all your custom renderings there because it helps you with upgrades. Then once you drag and drop one of these, so what I have here is at screenshot is this action teaser, and you can select what kind of variant you want. So it's really helpful for the editors to see how my component will look like. And this was not there before, they were just names, so they improved it from version 1.5, I think. So demo. Let's talk about it over the beers. So guys, rendering variants. So I took example of action teaser component.
Here we are placing all our render variants in the shared site. And here you can see there's a list of components that you can use these rendering variants all across your sites. You can also create new rendering variants which are specific to your sites. For example, this is my site called TU Metro, and here I have several rendering variants which are not coming from shared, and because those rendering variants are specific to the country and maybe the other one doesn't want to use them. So I can show how this particular variant is working. So I've placed this one. This is the one from toolbox in page content section, and here is one variant of this component. The other one is this one. Hoping it changes. Yeah, it does. So all the fields are editable. You can edit text here. Yeah, and also the button text you can link, and these are the basic fields that we have. Another one that I could show is the tile image teaser row component, how it looks like. So we have a text here, some more text, and then the link field. Then we have, for example, 2 images variant, 3 images variant, and 4 images variant. So this also I drag drop from here, this one. For example, right now you see this is 3 images variant. I could change it to 4. Yeah, so within a couple of seconds it changes. Sometimes it doesn't reflect the changes for rendering variants, and you have to save the page and change the variants again. So these are the basic fields that we have. If I go and take a look in the template first, so this is the template for my um, the style image teaser component that I'm using as rendering variants. Yeah. So in the template, I should define the master data. What does meant by master data? So I should define all the fields that I see are possible at max in particular rendering variant. For example, I see here at max, I would have 4 teasers of image. So in one template, I defined this title, description, link, and image and link fields for all 4 variants. Now, if I go to my shared site, this is how my rendering variant looks like. This is the 2 images variant. There are certain styles applied on those classes. Then we have separate image boxes for the image teasers itself. This is the outer part. I mean these 3 fields: main link, main description, and yeah, main title. This is 2 images variant. This is 3 images variant containing 3 image boxes, and the one called 4 images variant contains 4. So yeah, this is how the rendering variants work in general. And one thing to note, while creating a rendering variant, you must identify, or you must show what kind of rendering you want to be it compatible with. So yeah, that's about the rendering variants from my side.
So, learn from the mistakes of others and believe in community. We did a lot of mistakes in the beginning. We started creating everything from scratch. New custom components at the end of the project. We had 50 Helix projects for each component, which were not really needed. Like 5 of those were needed, which had real business functionality behind. Rest all were like static components going somewhere, linking to somewhere, which is like yeah, we could have avoided that, but at that point we didn't know, and there was not much documentation available. Now the community is quite active in SXA, and it's really helpful. Things that developers should take care is never modify any item under experience accelerator section. What does it mean? So you have your templates, your renderings, your toolbox configurations. Please try to create everything within your tenant folder. Never modify everything under experience accelerator. If you want to achieve something similar that an existing component has or out of the box component has, then just clone the existing rendering, modify the view how you want it, put the styles there, and it's it works like a charm. Use the power of rendering variants. They add way less placeholders. They are really good from the usability perspective. So, but one thing to notice, you shouldn't put for a particular rendering more than 10 rendering variants, otherwise the UX becomes bad and editors need to scroll every time, and it's not really a good practice as well. So put complex reusable structures in partial designs or snippets so that authors don't need to think up a lot about it, using similar kind of structures again and again, and they have already something prepared, they just need to drag and drop. Yes, in Toolbox, show editors only what they should use, and because later we complain that they are using which we don't support because they are seeing it, of course they will use it. So this one mistake we did as well, then later we provided restrictions on the Toolbox and just show them what they should use. You should always set placeholder restriction. This is general Sitecore rule. In general, it's nothing related to SXA in particular. Yes, so this is a question or a phrase that I've heard a lot from developers saying, yeah, it's gonna replace my job. SXA is a cool product, but there is not much for me to code in it. This is true and false. So it's not like there's nothing to code in it. Of course there is. So act smartly, save your project's time and money. We didn't because we were unaware about a lot of things, but if you are thinking about using SXA, you should at least do a POC if it's feasible for you, and you can save a lot of time for the new sites or new microsites at least. Utilize your resources in your team smartly. What I mean about this is your front-end developers can easily use the functionality of rendering variants, play with the markup, create items. There's nothing that that a Sitecore developer would like to do. So you can dedicate this job to your front-end developers if it works in your case, and utilize expensive and rare Sitecore developers for complex features, third-party integration, marketing features, and much more cool stuff that everybody likes to do being in Sitecore world. Nobody likes to create items. And not to forget, there's a list of people that I would like to mention here. So I hope some of you know him. That's Adam. He is known as the father of SXA, and he and his team started a YouTube channel. It's called Short Unofficial Ad Hoc Sitecore SXA Tutorials. It's really good. If you are thinking about hopping on the bus for SXA, then you could start with this and get a first feeling what it is about, whether I should go for it or not. There's even a best practice guide now, and there is a nice flowchart with a decision-making flowchart where you can decide if you, in terms of creating a new renderings, if you should create a new rendering, if you should clone the existing one, if you should create a rendering variant, and stuff like that. Okay. That's our colleague who used to work with us. That's Tima, and he developed SXA Helix project generator. So as I mentioned in the beginning, after 1 year we had 50 Helix projects, and after 5 projects we were already not happy having the same set of files, same set of items for each feature. So we decided to create a generator. It creates a core project, class library project, and the TDS project, and several items like placeholder settings, templates by default that you can synchronize to your Sitecore instance, and put values in there and synchronize it back to your source control. So this supports right now, so it is only for SXA solution, and it is supporting Sitecore 9, only TDS support. So it is available also on our Metronom GitHub. And if you want to add, if you like to add Unicorn support, please feel free to fork and make pull request. And it supports as of now SXA 1.6 and 1.7 project versions only. That's Una Verhoeven. She has uploaded some great videos, or she organized some webinars on the Women of Sitecore channel on YouTube, and it's a really good 1-hour video about getting started with SXA. It's also nice. You can maybe try to watch it if you like. And the next one is about SXA deep dive. So there she talks about the power of rendering variants with the different possibilities of rendering variants and different kind of fields that it offers. And that's another colleague of mine, Sebastian Winter. He's the one who actually asked me, or he encouraged me to do a user group presentation here. So, and he recently did a nice YouTube tutorial on SXA component render. So it's a new component render that has been introduced by SXA in version 1.8. And you can basically place your components as, or put your components in rendering variants, like show it like row of 4 or row of 5, stuff like that. And I have talked enough without a break. So thank you for your attention. That's me, and you can, if you like, get in touch with me. I'm quite active on Slack, Twitter, and now I'm open for questions.
So are rendering variants like basically be sort of like a component with a set of preset rendering parameters?
Mm-hmm.
So like you would just have it's like you set a component and you just have a load of rendering parameters that are already set against it, and then that's what is put on the page.
Yeah, so you have one template with maximum set of fields that you could imagine to be there, and then you create different rendering variants that, okay, in this particular rendering variant I want an image, background image, some text on it, and a button. Next you want to have a rich text on an image, then you create another rendering variant. So you have different fields and make use of those fields in different rendering variants. So it refers the same template, same rendering, it just renders the content differently.
And like, so does it add like classes on and stuff in the background so you can change colours and things?
Yeah. You can do that, yeah, sure.
Cool.
How did you get on with content editors with the different grid systems? Did they get confused with things like mobile and desktop and how many columns they should pick for each?
Just another one on that
Yes.
as well. Have you tried using Bootstrap 4, I think, with 1.7? I think that was a bit of a problem. Just wondering whether you...
No, we are not using, because I think it was introduced by after from 1.8.
Ah, right.
And we are using 1.7.1,
Right.
so we are not using Bootstrap 4 yet. But coming back to your question about grids, we had a hard time explaining it to our editors. We literally had to use calculator, I'm not lying, to show it to them. See, this is the calculation, multiple of 12, you can divide it, this is how you want to see it on your phone, on your tablet, and we had a hard time for sure, yes.
Because normally that bit would be sort of abstracted away. They would put a component into a placeholder, and then the front end developers would decide how that would look on different devices, right? So
exactly.
You're kind of putting that on them, which is...
No, so that was in the beginning when we started creating separate components, and we didn't know the concept that we can create components as row components and put them together in set of 4, in set of 3. So some were happy to know that, some were like, okay, you're going to develop new components, I'm going to just drag and drop that. So
Okay.
So we are taking possibility from them bit by bit to set up these configurations on their own.
So the site you did was from scratch.
Yes.
I haven't touched SXA yet, so how hard would it be to take a rendering and convert it to something that can be used in SXA?
Good question. I haven't done it, but SXA best. So there is a FAQ guide of SXA on the DocSitecore website, which claims that you can convert your rendering up to some extent to an SXA one, but it would take much more effort, and it would be much more simpler if you create a new one in SXA and have the same functionality.
Are you using the Creative Exchange, or did anybody look into it? And if so, does it work?
So Sorry.
Or is anybody using the Creative Exchange at all? I think it's like a live folder, isn't it? Where you drag your front end assets into, and it's supposed to like convert them into.
Yeah, so
assets.
we started using it for about 2 sprints or something. We used it for 2 sprints, and it was kind of getting a bit messy for us because we had our front-end developer in the team itself, and he knew what we are working on. We were changing the functionality quite often, and it was not happening in the synchronization at all. So what we did is we took out Creative Exchange Live completely, and we created our own Gulp task, and we don't upload the CSS and styles and JSS in Sitecore anymore as items. We source control everything as a team project within our solution,
Cool.
and that works pretty well for us. So yeah.
Anyone got any more questions?
Anyone interested to see the demo on the laptop?
Crowd round.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much.